So, hi everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. This is super cool. Um, I was also a music student, and I think it all really started for me in school, similarly to you. It's an important time to begin is right now. So don't ever think like what you're doing is like you're thinking too far ahead. Like if you feel like that pull towards music, go in that direction. And I think I felt the pull in high school as well. I guess I was auditioning for a lot of plays in the theater. Um, I was lucky enough to get really cool roles, and I was always on stage. I was on stage with some really cool people that we all know today in Durban. And I think playing a character, reading a script, um, all of that really helped me realize that I didn't know how to be someone else. And I struggled reading scripts, and I struggled acting, and I struggled with all those things. And then I auditioned for Idols, and I was singing covers. And singing covers was so cool, but eventually, as soon as I left the competition, nobody wants to hear covers. Everyone wants to hear what you can do, like what's your song. And I think going through that whole process of imitating somebody, acting, made me realize that I want to be me and I want to make my own songs and be my own person. So I've been making songs since high school, since matric actually, and I haven't stopped ever since then. Yeah. Yo, I grew up listening to Spice Girls. Do you guys even know Spice Girls? Do you know Spice Girls? You guys are young, so I'm just checking. Um, Spice Girls was my thing. And I think as soon as I watched Spice Girls, I was like, I think I want to sing. And then I was like into Tamia. I fell in love with I'm So Into You. And I was like, damn, I love that song. And I would always sing that song. And then my mom played a lot of Cher. Do you guys know Cher? Do you believe in love after love? And I was like, love Cher. And I always used to try and imitate Cher. And I grew up in a very multicultural home, and I think everyone was listening to different things. My dad was listening to TKZ, and my mom was listening to Lauryn Hill, and so I think those are just a few of the people growing up. But I mean, when I had the choice, I was always listening to Amy Winehouse, Britney Spears, toxic, very toxic. And yeah, I just anything popular culture obsessed. Yeah. So there's many different ways. I think when I started writing music, I left Idols gave us like a keyboard. And I didn't know how to play the keyboard, obviously. But when you know music, you just like sound, so you play with sound. And I think that's how I started, trying to play chords for myself, um, and singing to the same chords. People that play music hate people like me because we have 7 songs in one one chord structure. So that was when I was isolated and like very alone. But eventually, you meet people, and that's where collaboration is key. I got to meet people from ASC, which is, you guys know ASC? It's like the Sound Engineering Academy. So I went to college at AFDA, and then there was Sound Engineering College. So they were basically up the road from each other. And there's all these studios in the SABC building, and like it's just the coolest vibe. And I ended up meeting someone that was playing piano. And ever since that day, I have always composed every song that I've done with somebody that was skilled at what they were doing. So my melody is always influenced by what someone else is doing, the producer. It's not like that maybe for other musicians that play for themselves. Then obviously they come up with the things themselves, but I cannot work without collaboration. So I need to be around somebody that sends me a beat. I listen to all the beats people send me, and somebody that plays piano. So I would say that my songwriting starts with somebody influencing me. I always want to sing the first thing that comes out my mind. I'm not a structured songwriter, so I don't follow the ABB, BBA. I suck at that. And it gets awkward when I'm around real songwriters. I'd say that I'm an artist songwriter, so I write for myself. And I guess, yeah, I guess it's just like whatever I hear. If I hear something, then you just go off. And then from then you structure. So I can't look at the chair and then start spitting about the chair. I'm not that cool. I wish I was, but I'm not there. So I just do whatever like comes naturally.
Okay, which is what I wanted to touch on.
Sure. Yeah, thank you so much.
Is that better? Okay. That brings me to the next follow-up, where you speak about collaborations, which is really, I think a lot of us do that. When you get to a point where you might not like what the person came up with, you might not like, you know, we all have found those kind of situations, and I'm sure you've experienced that as well. How do you find a compromise? How do you come to a middle ground when that happens?
It depends whose session it is, I guess. So if you guys are coming together to do something for each other, then it's like, I don't like that. Okay, so match me. What don't you like about it? Tell me. You can't just not like my idea. Like, don't not like the idea. Tell me why you don't like the idea and give me a better idea. So that's how I work. But if it's my session, then sometimes your opinion doesn't really matter to me. Which is bad. Don't quote me. But if it's your session and you like what you've done, then stick to it. And then when people hear your music and they don't like the song, and then maybe you'll decide to take people's advice. But I think if you guys are coming together to work on something, and if you trust that person's opinion, then you say, okay, what don't you like about this? It's a bit weird, right? What do you think should work in place? Like, what line would be better? And then you swap it out for whatever you think works. I went to Songwriting camp in January, and I was with 3 other writers, and it was so hectic because I'm not used to working with other writers. But the best music came out of that because we worked together and because it wasn't just my thoughts in the song. Right. So I'm contradicting myself, but I'm saying that there's many ways to do it. It's just whatever feels good to you at the time. If you believe in that idea, stick to it. Yeah. Don't be in studio with people you don't want to be in studio with. Don't write songs with people you don't want to write songs with. Always for the intention of others, which is not the greatest way to write music. But that's not really how it starts, only because it's my professional space right now. But I think before I was writing music for myself, but now I'm writing for everyone. Watch TV. I had a creative block for many years. Like, it's scary. And I think there's many things that you can do to get out of it. One is distance yourself from it. Take some space away from it because it's a creative process, right? So in the same time, you don't want to force it to come out, you know. I was supposed to release an album years ago. I only released it last week. And that was just because it's a creative art, you know. It wasn't something that needed to be out. No one was going to die if I didn't release the album. So take your time, take space away from it. Do something different also. I focused on a festival instead of my album. I was like, this part of singing and writing music is not coming out of me and is not fulfilling me. Let me work on another side of music. Let me create stages and, yeah, do something different. So for me, when it comes to putting together my albums, I've done 3. I did one for my graduation, which nobody's heard, besides my lectures. And then I did 2, obviously, Rose Gold and Trouble in Paradise. And for me, I think when you come out with an album, for me, it's like, it's my story. So it's my big book, and Rose Gold is chapter 1, and Trouble in Paradise is chapter 2. So I like to make sure that there's some sort of like story, you know, and journey of life. So start from the top, whatever you're feeling, and the last part of it is like how it ended, what's the conclusion. Like an essay, intro, body, conclusion, and do that for the album, I guess. Rose Gold is like that for me. It's my life in college. Rose-tinted shades, everything was beautiful. And Trouble in Paradise is the glasses coming off and me being faced with reality, being an adult. So that's my sequence. If money was not involved, would I still perform and make music? Definitely. Yes, definitely. I think I started doing it without getting paid. And I literally can't do anything else. Like, I'm pathetic at everything. All I can do is sing and make a good sandwich and watch TV. So I think I would still be singing, living at home with my mom and dad, being their burden. Yeah, definitely. So today, I woke up, get dressed and ready, come here, do makeup. I always wear makeup, guys. Please don't expect me to not have a face beat. Like, get my makeup done. After here, I have an interview. After the interview, I have another show, and I have a flight back home to Durban. And that's kind of like what most of my life looks like. There's always something to do. I think this idea that you know, there's not a lot to do in the music or creative industry is really a lie. There's preparation, there's a whole lot of things that go into my everyday, and I barely have free time, yeah. From a young age, I thought I was going to be a ballerina. Very awkward, I know. I thought I was going to be a dancer. I have no rhythm. So I also thought I was going to be a chef. That music was never what I thought I would end up doing. I just knew I loved to sing. Yeah. All the time. Definitely recently. I think last month I was dying because I had to hand in my album and I was just like, I'm not ready. I don't know if people will like it. I also felt like it was too personal. You know, it's, all of a sudden I didn't want to share what I was going through with everyone. And I was on the brink of just not handing it in and moving past. But you have those days and you must welcome them. Don't avoid like feeling like that. It's normal. You come back to your senses. That's the story of my life. That's the story of my life. I can give you 2 examples. So I finished Suited and I felt like there was something missing from the song. I had handed it in, it was ready to come out. And then I was like, no, there's something missing. Like, I need to ask someone else for help. And then I took the song to Maporisa, and he listened to it, and he added the section that goes, never, never know, yeah. So that was never in the song before. And it's such an important part of the song. So sometimes asking people for help is great. But then we have Trouble in Paradise. I had many people come in and help me write choruses, verses, I took all of them out 2 weeks before I handed the album in and redid them. So I also get to the space where I'm like, but I don't like your advice, but I don't like what I did either. So who, like, somebody's got to be able to fix the song. Like, that's the story of my life with Insecure, the song Insecure, Fixate. They all had completely different melodies, different verses, outros and intros. You just eventually have to let it be, because it's never going to be perfect. Nothing is perfect. So don't expect the song to be perfect. Yeah. Oh, so important to have an understanding of the business side of music. I don't know if you guys have social media and you see the mess that's happening on social media right now. Without mentioning names, is artists realizing that, wow, we've been messed up. And it's always too late, you know? There's people that don't have access to their Vivo accounts on YouTube right now. There's people that haven't been paid for songs that they've written. To avoid that, take a course in music business. It sucks, but you're better off that way. I fall under the same category. As much as I feel like I'm so hands-on, I know everything gets CC'd to me. I read everything again. You can never be, like you have to continue wanting to know more. You have to know your splits. How are you splitting these royalties? There has been, even last year, there was times where I realized I wasn't collecting royalties for certain types of royalties, and I feel like I know everything, you know? But you can never know enough. So if you don't want to find yourself in a place where you resent the people you work with, and you feel like you've been cheated, do the homework, you know? Do the homework, and knowledge is power. Like, don't leave here and immediately try and jump into releasing music or whatever it is that you guys are into. I think make sure you can get as much information as you can on everything. When it comes to the splits of the songs, how you split the songs, when it comes to gigs, speak to people also. I think that's what's beautiful about having a class full of people. Chat to each other. What you know, I know it's not a nice question to ask, but what are you getting paid? What are you getting paid? I think at the end of the day, as much as we like to keep that information to ourselves, as musicians and as people in the arts, we don't have unions. We don't have anyone fighting for us. So it's important for us to kind of come together and understand how things are done, so you don't feel cheated. So as much as I feel like I'm extremely hands-on at what I do, I still feel like there's so much more I can learn. So I will be going back to school next year, because I just feel like the learning can never end. Yeah. My final words, guys, is that it's okay to be crazy. It's okay to be weird. It's okay to be different. It's okay to not fit in. And you have to love yourself before anyone else can love you. So you have to like your music, and you have to love you as a person before you expect your audience to do that for you. And I think COVID taught me that, you know, without having an audience. You know, there was no one screaming my name and telling me I was great, and it was awkward for me, which is weird. But I had to go through a process of having to learn how to love me, ugly me, pretty me, all versions of you. So you guys are perfect the way you are, and just continue to be your own team player, like be on your team before anyone else is on your team. Yeah. Thank you so much for letting me speak to you guys. Oh, that's such a cool question. I don't even know. I think recently I really like the second verse of Tides. I said, no man is an island, no matter what I say. Cost of love is so pricey, chasing you at a high speed, but it don't matter, like you matter. If it's true love, I'll swim for you, love. So I know it's very simple, but it's my favorite few lines at the moment, yeah. Thank you so much, guys. I hope this was a little bit helpful.